Okay, I'll tell you what, I just met our next speaker as he was walking in, and I was blown away by the first two little facts he gave me as he came in. Again, in the spirit of listening to perspectives far from Norway, but this time from deep inside the Arctic itself, I'm delighted to welcome Mihail Pогодаев. Now, Mihhail is Deputy Minister for Arctic Development and Indigenous Peoples Affairs for the government of the Sakha Republic in North Russia. Now, I said, just give me an idea, Mihhail, of how big the Sakha Republic is. I do love the fact its name is a little bit similar to mine, so I'm inclined to love it already. And it's 3 million square kilometers, which, to give you a sense of what that means, is 8 times the size of Norway, 5 times the size of France, and yet the population hovers around the 1 million mark. So talking of sparsely populated territory, this is it. But I'm fascinated to hear, Mihhail, your perspective on safeguarding the well-being of your Arctic communities. So up you come. Thank you.
Good afternoon, dear Arctic friends. First of all, let me thank the organizers of this conference for inviting me, and it's a great honor for me to be at this stage and speak about perspective of our region. And I would like to thank Norway and beautiful city of Tромsё for significant contribution to international Arctic cooperation. I also would like to thank Sami people for hospitality and leadership in Arctic cooperation for all indigenous peoples of the world. I am originally indigenous. I am Aven. We have about 21,000 people, and I'm from reindeer herding family in eastern Siberia, from Sakha Republic, which, as Steven just said, the biggest region of the Russian Federation with more than 3 million square kilometers. As he said, 8 times of Norway. we like to measure our territory with territories of other countries. But among those less than 1 million people in our region, there are 5 indigenous peoples, Aven, Avenki, Yukagirs, Chukchi, Dolgan, and also Sakha people inhabited this land and doing reindeer herding, fishing, and hunting. So I just wanted you to understand the scale of the challenges that we have. You have to imagine the size of our region. So our main challenges are huge distances, sparsely populated areas, lack of infrastructure, limited access to markets, and extreme climate conditions. As we say, Yakutия is the 4th pole on our planet. You know, we have North Pole, we have South Pole, we have Himalaya as the highest mountains, and also we have Yakutия, the 4th pole of the cold. Climate is extreme in our region, and in the pole of the cold, Oymyakon was registered lowest temperature, minus 72 degrees Celsius. And the difference between winter and summer temperatures is more than 100 degrees. Almost all territory of Sakha Republic is covered by permafrost, and in some areas it is 1.5 kilometers deep. So our conference, the theme of this conference is power of knowledge. So most often question that people ask me, they ask how you can live there and how people could survive and thrive in these harsh climate conditions. And the answer to this question is knowledge. Indigenous knowledge led our people to utilize natural resources in a sustainable way for millennia. They created their unique circumpolar civilization, which was a unique way of adaptation to harsh climate conditions. And they live in harmony with the nature. But we have time of change. Modern Yakutия is developing, and we would like to develop our region, improve the quality of life. Today, the economy of Yakutия is based on natural resources. First of all, minerals like diamonds, gold, silver, coal, also oil and gas industry. So the biggest challenge for our region is how to keep the balance between economic development and preservation of fragile nature and indigenous people's livelihoods, since they keep very close connection to the nature still. In our region, we make it in our way, and we have a special law on ethnological expert review. It means that any development project to be realized, to be implemented on indigenous lands before it starts, in addition to environmental and social impact assessment, must be investigated by an ethnological expert assessment. In other words, they have to find out how this particular project will impact indigenous livelihoods. This is the way to protect indigenous people's rights, and companies must compensate all negative impact to indigenous peoples. Another tool to protect indigenous lands is the law that we have in our region on territories of traditional nature use. And it is special protected areas reserved for preservation of traditional livelihoods. In Yakutia, we have established 62 territories of traditional nature use, and they cover more than 60% of our territory. And also I have to add that in Yakutia, 37% of its territory is protected areas. 37%. You remember the size of Sakha Republic? More than 3 million square kilometers. So think about it. But I will get back to the theme of this conference, power of knowledge. As I said, knowledge led our people to thrive on our land. But today we face major challenges with climate change and globalization. Thawing permafrost put on risk all infrastructure, houses, roads, etc. More floodings affect many remote settlements, and in some areas we already even discussing that we might have climate refugees. Winter roads, food security, energy, infrastructure, transport, and traditional livelihoods like reindeer husbandry, fishing, they're challenged with these changes. And we must say that Arctic identity is indigenous cultures. Because of globalization, indigenous knowledge and languages is disappearing. And therefore, we need to take actions to preserve this knowledge, transfer it to young generations, and let people use their own knowledge to develop their own societies. Science is very important, but in combination with indigenous knowledge, it can give more comprehensive answers to the society and to be better prepared to meet the global changes. In this regard, we are very glad to say that cooperation between Sakha Republic and Norway is developing and has a long history. And I would like to thank Nordforsk for support of the project led by University of the Arctic EALAT Institute at the International Center for Reindeer Husbandry and NEFU, Northeastern Federal University, focused on co-production of knowledge between scientists and indigenous peoples. And already in April, we are planning to have a conference in Chersky. It's a lower Kolyma region, and I know that in Norway you might know about this. We also have another project which aims to preserve indigenous knowledge. It is an initiative of the Russian Federation to the Arctic Council, and the title of the project is Digitalization of Linguistic and Cultural Heritage of Indigenous Peoples of the Arctic. This project is led by UNESCO department at Northeastern Federal University in Yakutsk, and project aims to engage youth to document and digitalize and create a portal to store linguistic and cultural heritage of indigenous peoples of the Arctic. So we ask permanent participants and Arctic states to join and support this initiative. It is not enough time to tell you about all our perspectives, but at least I told you some. I just want to say that we are interested to cooperate with Norway and all other Arctic nations. We need more cooperation. We need to share our experiences, use the best available knowledge, new and traditional technologies, and best practices. We need to keep Arctic spirit of cooperation, to keep peace and stability in our Arctic home. When I was leaving my hometown, Yakutsk, it was minus 51 degrees. And in my home district, it was minus 71. So it's still cold there. So let's let's hope that Arctic will stay cool. Thank you.